Not a matter of if, but when crisis will rock your world. I'm Roshini Rajkumar, crisis strategist, licensed attorney, and host of The Crisis Files. Can you tell how happy I am? This is a special first for The Crisis Files today. We are on location at Mall of America. You know it as one of the biggest retail and entertainment destinations in the world. We thank the team at MOA for hosting us. Whether winding down the year or starting a new one, your finances are always a hot topic. Huntington Regional President Michael Maeser is here for the case file I call Money Talk. All right, Mike, this is a question I'm guessing you get all the time. Inflation. What can you tell us?
Well, it's a big topic, Roshini. Inflation is really seen a lot of different ways. But if you think about the pinch that has caused a concern to the public, interest rates went up as much as 500 basis points in the past 2 years. And the Fed is finally starting to bring rates down. But what does that mean to the average person? Is CPI, or inflation, is the cost of living, right?
And it's gotten expensive.
And by the way, it's housing, it's autos, it's even food and energy and things like that went way up in cost. Normally, the government likes to see inflation around 2%. In the past 2 years, it's been between 6 and 9%. So the costs are going up 6 to 9%, and your income probably isn't tracking that. So it's really put a pinch on people, especially during times like this.
Right, and I'm no mathematician for a living, but the difference between 2 and 9, we can all do the math on that. All right, so a lot of times people say, oh, I can navigate this environment on my own. I have to say personally, as a business owner since 2006, and shortly thereafter, a financial advisor approached me about becoming my advisor. Best decision I ever made, Mike. And now I can't say enough how people should get advice from experts. And you are an expert, I know, more than 35 years of doing this kind of work in the Twin Cities market.
Yeah, you know what, as a result of inflation, it caused a pinch in people's finances, right? And people look back and say, what do I do? Can I do this myself? And there are people who try to be do-it-yourself advisors, and they try to take care of their own things. But if you have a very complex situation, if you're a business owner, if there's an urgency, or for many people, it's just lack of knowledge. They don't know what they don't know. And choosing an advisor can really help you through times like that and protect you from making decisions based on emotion.
That's like the quote of the day, protect you from you. I mean, sometimes we are our own worst enemies when it comes to thinking we can do everything. But I mean, it's kind of natural to me. I'm a professional speaker and crisis strategist. I don't assume my clients can do what I do. That's why they bring me in. Same analogy with financial advisors.
Totally, and you can do some things on your own, but the more complex your situation is, if you're looking for long-range planning, you need to think beyond that. You need someone to help you, give you the advice that maybe you didn't know you didn't know. And sometimes they help you solve for issues you didn't know that you had.
All right, let's talk about the environment. So we're sitting here in December 2024, and in a bit I want to ask you for year-end advice. But in general, we're going to have a year ahead, lots of changes in the United States, lots of changes in and around the globe. How can the regular person deal with changing markets, changing atmospheres, and frankly, changing administrations for the United States government?
Well, you got to look at your own situation and worry about that first. You need to look at some form of planning, and usually the advice of an advisor can help you with your planning to solve for those issues. No matter what happens politically, you still have your situation that you should plan for. The effects of not only inflation, but where we're going, you need to really manage your plan. And I think savings is a good example. People should have 3 to 6 months of savings of their annual income put in savings as a rainy day fund. That is a protection for that what-if scenario. And oftentimes the things you didn't plan for.
Yeah, like the dog needs a $5,000 surgery. And I mean, my husband has said he's not paying for that. I'm saying, oh my gosh, we're not going to let Kodak die. If he needs that surgery, we're going to give him that surgery. So that's a little family discussion. He's too young to need surgery right now, so I'm not worrying about it.
I totally get it. That's a great example, and maybe you need new tires or a new roof. It's the same thing, right?
The non-sexy stuff, right? Okay, so let's talk about something that I know is sexy to you as an advisor, but maybe not to the rest of us. savings versus investing. I like cash, but my financial advisor says don't keep so much in cash. We need to invest. But I'm like, oh no, I don't want to let go of what I'm seeing on my balance sheets for cash. Hey, I'm not saying it's millions of dollars, but I'm just saying every time the cash number goes down, I get a little nervous.
You really need to think of savings as your reserve, right? That's the reserve of cash that you can pull at a moment's notice, usually in savings or a money market. Investments are a whole different pool of money. It could be your retirement fund. It could be cash that you've put aside. You've got enough now that you can start an investment plan, but you really need to start with your cash piece first and then build from there. And then as far as your allocations and how to guide that, that's where an advisor can help guide what is the right asset allocation and model for you and for that pool of money.
All right, Mike, so the advice you're giving today in case file number 124, Money Talk, really is going to help us for the rest of our lives. But I do want to spend a little time knowing we're sitting in December and year end. In general, what's good year-end financial planning?
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 things that you should think about at year end. One is about how did the markets do and what did that do to my portfolio? So as an example, this year, the financial markets, stock market is up about 25%. If you were in a 50-50 portfolio, half stocks and half bonds, you probably are no longer 50-50. You're probably 60% equities and 40% bonds, and that's put you in a more risky position than you probably thought you wanted to be. So you need to look at rebalancing back to those numbers. The same could be said if the market was down, that you should rebalance. So stay true to your asset allocation. Look for opportunities where you can match tax gains against tax losses in your stock portfolios or bond portfolios. Charitable contributions are another thing that really matter at this time of year. If you're you haven't made the contributions you want to make, that's something that you would use as a deduction. A couple other things are, look at your retirement contributions. Are you maximizing your corporate and retirement benefit plans? Are you looking at, like, healthcare savings accounts are a product that are provided by corporations quite often, and you could go online and do simple online courses and you can get free money from the company for doing that. So don't miss out on those benefit opportunities that the company is providing for you, and you have until usually only December to do that, and then the year is up, right?
Right, well, that's usually how it goes, yeah. That brings up a question. I recently talked with someone, doesn't make a lot of money, but their employer gives a really nice 401k match. And I've said, oh my gosh, that's free money. You gotta maximize it. What do you say to the person who's like, look, I'm making under $80,000 a year. I can't really afford to use that 401k or do the match?
Well, I would actually turn it and say you probably can't afford not to. That is complimentary money, right? Some of those matches are 25, 30, 50, even 100%. That's free money, like you said, and it will hurt you in the long run not taking advantage of that and the compounding that extra contribution makes. So you should look at the benefit plan, make sure you're maximizing to the degree you're allowed, right? And take every bit of the free money that you can. It's really worth it. And by the way, it's not just retirement plans. It can be HSA plans and other things that you're allowed to make contributions to. Look at those, because those healthcare spending accounts are another vehicle that is really a great program.
We may have to have you back just to talk about HSAs. They can be so confusing, but they are a savings vehicle.
They are. They're a healthcare savings account, but ultimately will be a spending account that's tax-free someday when you need it.
Yeah.
Some use them the same year. Some are going to put it out there until someday in the future they'll use it to spend.
I have friends that are they don't even touch it. They put as much as they can in every year, and they say, you never know, 10 years, 15 years, that's going to be free money back.
Great advice. If you can afford to do it, I know my daughter, she chooses when to use it and when she wants to put it out in the future.
All right, here's my question for you, because not only are you a seasoned financial advisor and you're the big boss of Huntington Regional, I'm guessing you know what you're talking about, but I want to go personal. In your life, of the big major decisions you had to make, what was your best decision financially, and what was one that you're like, ugh, wish I could do a take two on that?
I would say the take two is do not let emotion drive your decisions. Every so often you make a purchase or a sale of something and you let emotion drive that decision, it usually backfires. So it can be fear, it could be greed, so that it would be the biggest one. I would say this is kind of not answering your question, but the best one I ever made was marrying my wife.
Oh.
So.
Is she a smart saver?
Yeah, yes.
That's all he's going to say
very
for
frugal,
now.
I can say that.
Frugal is a really good term. Frugal is a good term. You know what? The frugal people of the world, though, end up running the world, right? Because you can run your own household, you can run your finances, you can have the trips when you want them.
And we make a great team. So you challenge each other on decisions, and so it's a joint decision, not a solo decision. So that's why that's the best financial decision.
Are you saying you're the spender, she's the saver?
It varies. And if we're going to go see live music, it might be me. And if we're going to do something that's a trip, it's her.
That's great. And I understand you recently took your wife to see Bruce Springsteen.
In Calgary. That was awesome.
I mean, epic. I love it. I love that you also like to have fun while you're being smart with other people's money. It's a good thing.
It does matter.
All right, let's wind down with kind of a hot list, okay?
Yeah.
I have not prepared Mike for this. So here we go. Okay. If there's one thing you do, and you only have time for one, before any year ends, what is it?
Beyond what I already said about the tax loss harvesting, I would make sure during the holiday time when you're either taking PTO or what have you, that you're going over any kind of fraud protection that you can look at, whether it's updating your passwords, making sure that if you're a business owner and you have key people out, that you're making sure that the transactions that they do every day are being watched. This is the time of year where fraud is at its highest, and you need to be extra careful during the holidays around fraud.
All right, I think that's great. When you are out and about, what's your favorite spirit or wine or cocktail?
I like a really good red wine.
Any suggestions for our listeners?
A really nice cab would be awesome. My personal choice would be a Brunello di Montalcino if I had a choice.
All right. I love the tip. Love the tip. Mike, thank you so much for joining the Crisis Files on location at Mall of America. I mean, has this not been fun?
This has been awesome. And I read a stat that said you could fit 9 Yankee stadiums in the Mall of America footprint. Can you believe that?
I can't believe that, but being that it took me a while to figure out where our location was today, I guess I can kind of believe that. All right, I know you want to connect directly with the Huntington team. Go to huntington.com, check out all their offerings. They will hook you up. Follow us on YouTube and Instagram at The Crisis Files. Rate, review, and subscribe to The Crisis Files on your platform of choice. Check out our website, thecrisisfiles.com. I'm Roshini Rajkumar. Thank you so much to the team at Mall of America for having us in this beautiful atrium. Remember MOA for your special events and company offsites. There's so much here to explore. Join me next time on The Crisis Files.